Good afternoon. Thank you for joining our Fireside Chat, introducing Bluefort to the United States. My name is Edward Harof, better known as EJ to the Dynamics community for the last 15 years. And I'm going to be introducing the group here and all the benefits and values of Bluefort and building the partner program for the North American area. And we encourage you to hear what they say and all the successes that they've had around the world, and see what they're doing to change the subscription management industry, which is outstanding. And of course, for all of us in the dynamic space, this is something that managing subscriptions used to be just for the software people, but it's expanding into all industries. So it's a very, very strategic part of the technology spectrum. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to our speakers. The CEO of Bluefort from Malta, Edward Borg Grech, and Nigel, Ridpath, Director of Revenue from the United Kingdom.
Afternoon, EJ.
I've been around Dynamics for 15 years, ERP and ERP add-ons for SaaS partners, channel partners, and services partners for almost 30. And based here in Atlanta, that you see behind me, and worked all over the globe with different partners. And I've been primarily in sales and marketing and business development and building a channel, which is exactly what we're planning to do here in the US with all of the Dynamics SaaS and professional services organizations here. Edward, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, sure. So I've been in the dynamic space for the past 15 years, give or take. I've seen the whole space grow and change quite a lot, from the on-premises good old times to the cloud, and now in the AI and co-pilot state of things. I am very passionate about the value that technology brings to people out there, and happy to have this fireside chat with you.
Thank you. Nigel from the UK.
Hi there. Yeah, it's great to join you for this fireside chat, Edward. I've been with Bluefort now for about 15 months, and I'm leading our sales and marketing efforts. It's great to be extending our team over the other side of the Atlantic.
Well, and it's a pleasure to meet with you. We just had an annual team building event in Malta where Bluefort brings in all of their employees to get together and do all the things that really are important, especially with international and technology and communicating and working together closely, so to maximize everything that you're doing. And I'm now a Lego pro.
That's my fault.
Yeah, right.
That's a story for another time.
And I did share that with a lot of people, so I'm going to get a new set of Legos. All right, so let's get to it. So Bluefort's evolved over the past decade and is evolving as a leader in this important technology segment. Can you guys share important accomplishments that have led you to where we are today, and anything you want to delve into? So.
Yes, so thanks for that, EJ. So Bluefort has grown to become a leader as a provider of end-to-end subscription lifecycle solutions in the Microsoft Dynamics space. Our growth really has come from our customer-centric approach, and this, coupled with industry recognition, has really pushed us to make an impact globally. The way I see it, we have 3 notable milestones that has led us to get to this point. The first one was the realization that the enterprise market needs a solution for this gap. We needed it too. So right at the beginning, we were ourselves in a need for having something to manage subscriptions. So that is where our first need came from. That is where our product and our value comes from our own need. The second notable milestone was the signing up of the first customer for our enterprise offering. It didn't take much effort for our first customer to realize the standard offering in Dynamics 365 Finance, or even what the competitors are offering, is just not enough for their basic business needs. It was immediately clear that our solution was the only one that could help them immediately navigate the very difficult marketplace conditions. Milestone number 3 is we recently did Gartner vendor briefing. We do this every few months, and we received a jaw-dropping response from their analysts. And this was this for me is like it's a testament that our razor-sharp focus on our customer needs is reaping benefits. So for me, those are like the 3 major notable milestones that have led us to where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, the industry itself, people didn't think of subscription as that complicated years ago, but then it's evolved where that's the way things work. And you think about the complexity of all the changes and everything that's happening out there, especially with small ticket items. That's, we'll get into that in further discussions, but it presents an accounting nightmare. And Bluefort is leading the way. Nigel, can you take us into, you guys have been successful in many parts of the world and now coming to the US, and it's an exciting scenario for me and all our partners over here. But what led you to that?
Well, I think it was a natural part of our evolution, really. We have been particularly successful in Europe thus far, and I guess being kind of centered in the UK and Malta, that's natural. You tend to go after the market that's on your doorstep, and we have a good market here. There's no doubt about that, and we'll continue to reap the benefits of it. But going back to one thing Edward said, that Gartner briefing was and what the analysts were saying about our product was a real, I guess, shot in the arm in terms of us with our expansion plans. And we also have won a major New York-based client, which we sold and delivered remotely, and we figured that getting more boots on the ground, if you like, at EJ, you're our first boots on the ground, is only going to lead to more success. So we can see that the market's there, and it's part of our continual investment in our growth that the next stage was to get our first individual representing us in the US.
Thank you. Yeah, I got this shirt, but I'm a size 12. So those are my boots that I need, right? So,
right, okay.
And I'll fly. So, yeah, your point about the Gartner piece. We've seen a lot of studies. Everybody's AI, which is exciting. However, if you dig into the reporting, you'll see that optimization of their systems, of a company's siloed systems and interfaces, and all of the labor crunches and things like that optimization is really a key component to that. So being able to have a system, and we'll get into the technical aspects, that work not only on the front end with the sales side of the applications, but dual writing and updating the accounting backside at the same time, fits into that optimization, that category where we're making more of what you have there. and giving you sales opportunities that we'll talk about as well.
Mm.
So let's talk about SaaS, because SaaS, SaaS was the software as a service, guys. That was the trend 5-6 years ago in moving to subscription-based applications, which brought on, a whole new world of how you sell, how you recognize revenue, how do you collect, how do you, everything. What do you see as the SaaS challenges, biggest SaaS challenges that they're facing today? Nigel, I'll direct that to you. But
yeah, sure. I mean, the Bluefort products can handle any subscription management solution requirement. But what we found is, I guess when you stand back and think about it, it's not that surprising, because software as a service implies subscription, and our main group of customers today has been from that area. So we've got a lot of track record in the SaaS market. And what we tend to find in that space is that customers are where they've come from is a place where they've stitched together a number of potentially best of breed products. So they've picked a billing platform, they've picked an ERP, they've picked a CRM, they've picked something to optimize communications with customers, etc. And you often find a landscape that is kind of 80% plumbing and 20% functionality. And the opportunity that we've got in the SaaS market space is with particularly Dynamics for Sales and Dynamics Finance and Supply Chain Management, with our products over the top, can give an end-to-end solution that takes a potential customer from lead to cash, and there's no plumbing involved. Everything is in one place. You don't have to stitch anything together. Which obviates the need, for instance, where if you look at a typical landscape of where a lot of SaaS companies come from, if one of those products in that suite of 8 or 10 that they've plumbed together gets an update, then quite often you're having to turn your hand back to the plumbing to to make it work with the other things it's plumbed into. And of course, given that all of those products are probably SaaS companies as well, one of the delights about SaaS is you get frequent updates, new bits of functionality and the rest of it, which means that the big part of the problem is the plumbing's breaking down all the time. And the last thing we want is kind of like Victorian plumbing situation. So that having that one platform, I think, is something that is really attractive to our customers and prospects in the SaaS space.
Yeah, I mean, and using the plumbing example, the way it works now is you have to carry it to each part of the house, right?
Yeah.
And the mistakes in spreadsheets and doing that, and the headache for the salespeople, right?
You're absolutely
God.
You're absolutely right, EJ. It's not even that all that plumbing is like properly built by a plumber. Some of it is into one spreadsheet, into another spreadsheet, and then back into another system. The chances for error and let's face it, none of that stuff is SaaS is supposed to be an exciting place to work, right? None of that sounds like it's very exciting to me. So let's concentrate on helping businesses innovate and grow.
Well, the complications that you mentioned, and we can talk about those in the future ones more, but it's the same scenario of when was the last time you did an assessment of all the steps and all the applications and how they're talking to each other, right? Yeah. Well, when you look at because it's grown so fast, right? So you haven't had time to go back and check at, as you said, lead to order. what steps don't we need anymore? Or why are we doing this?
Yeah.
It's consuming, and there's a concrete ROI there that you can attach to labor and mistakes and things like that, just by simply putting in Bluefort to handle that with your CRM and your Dynamics F&O. Okay, so let's talk about the solution suite, the names, and the benefit of Go Cardless, Partner, and Stripe. Edward, Nigel, both?
Oh. So I'm glad you asked. So a very important step when signing up a customer or a subscriber is getting paid consistently and on time. So one of our latest solutions is the TAP solution, and that is targeted particularly at this point. And it has been built around bringing automation for subscription businesses to get paid with the minimum amount of effort. So our partnership with Go Cardless brings this automation in the form of direct debits straight from bank accounts. And on the other hand, we also have a partnership with Stripe that enabled card transactions too. So besides getting paid on time, also automatically allocates the payment with the respective invoice in the books. So there is no administration involved. It also integrates seamlessly with our Lisa products. And more importantly, TAP is available to download for free for Dynamics 365 Finance, Dynamics 365 Business Central, and Dynamics 365 Sales. And it's for free on app stores. It's very easy to set up. There's a learning portal on learn.bluefort.eu. And if anyone gets stuck at any point, they're always free to reach out to us too.
Thank you. Yeah, and partners, he said a couple of words there. Free, okay, that's a good one. And then opportunities, right? And typically ISV solutions are fantastic at what they do, and they decrease steps and improve productivity. But this Bluefort solution has the dual benefit of actually creating opportunities, which we'll get into also from the analytics and the information that it's collecting, which starts like with a Go Card with a transaction and goes through the entire system. I think you'll be very, very excited about that. So Nigel, we talked about plumbing. Okay, let's talk about some other serious pains that people can relate to that Bluefort impacts in the company.
Okay. We often see probably the biggest impacts are both on in the sales engine of a company, and also in the operational, particularly the financial operational side of the business. Subscription companies will know. So let's start on the finance side. Subscription companies will know that they have to adhere to certain accounting standards. This might sound a little dry, but believe me, if you're the CFO with responsibility for signing up the numbers, it's anything but dry. And those numbers and those accounting standards require you to recognize revenue over the course of the year. Now, you might think if you're selling an annual subscription for $100 a year, and you divide that by 12, and that's your revenue recognition for the year. Yeah, that's fairly straightforward. But what if you get 3 months in and you upgrade that that subscription? What do you do about the revenue recognition for the rest of the year? That needs changing, or you downgrade, or you cancel, or you take an add-on, for instance. All of these things are a CFO's nightmare, right? And often there are a lot of this is done off books, so it's done in the dreaded spreadsheets that we talked about. And the thing that the CFO most fears is the tap on the shoulder from the compliance people saying, "Are you absolutely sure that these revenue recognition numbers are right?" Because they have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that they are right. So that's probably the thing that keeps those guys awake at night. and they there's a link back then to the revenue side of the business, and that link is sometimes the finance people are saying you can't have all of these options on your subscription products because it makes us accounting for them incredibly hard. In fact, maybe next to impossible. So the salespeople are thinking, yeah, but I'd like to split this product out as 2 add-ons, because that makes sense for our customers, and finance is having a problem with that. So one of the problems that you're seeing out of that then is that people aren't able to have the structure of the subscription packages and pricing that they like because it's just too complicated to manage in the back end. And then the other thing from the CRO perspective is when it comes to one of the things we see is that when it comes to upselling products, it's a very simplistic way to say this customer doesn't have this product, therefore let's try and upsell them, right? And you could probably do that out of any CRM. But the bit that we can bring to the party is that we can look at consumption data in the ERP on a particular subscription package, and use that to generate smart opportunities, as we call them, but they're automatically created opportunities based on usage, not on just what you have or don't have. And that's way more powerful to the CRO than simply, as I say, just trying to upsell a product because a customer doesn't have it. Doing it based on usage and consumption is way more powerful and leads to bigger revenue. Hey, that's what the CRO is looking for. So they're just some examples of business pain points that we see, and it's mostly the CFO and the sales teams that have the pains that we can tackle.
Well, and a key point you bring in there is that it's all happening real time. So that information is being collected, processed, fed back to the CRM for sales opportunities all the time, right? I mean, that's that they can set it up. It's not like, okay, we need to go and create this and do an analysis of the buyer behavior and which region is doing, that can all be set up so that it's instantaneous. And I think that's one of the big things that attracted me to the whole process is, but look, when you say subscriptions, everyone knows subscription now, right? Because we all have 20 streaming services and we hate them, right? Because the billing is just driving you crazy, right? And I want to change this, but I can't do that. And that's just from a consumer level, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, when you think about the back end and how that's being handled by the accounting system, it is a nightmare, right? And guess what? It's going to get worse, right? Unless you get a handle on it now, and I think that's a big point of what you bring to the table here. So if you think in terms of the sales part and the accounting part, that's an easy way to see the benefits without digging into the schematics of it. But there's a dual benefit there, and and when you guys call me, then we'll talk about it all day. So that's what we're hoping here. So beneficiaries of the Bluefort subscription solution.
So in terms of our customers or our partners' customers, it really comes back to those 2 roles I was just talking about. They're not the only ones that benefit, but that tends to be where the impetus starts. You've either got the head of sales or the CRO saying, our churn rates are through the roof. We're not upselling or cross-selling like we should be. Our sales guys are spending too much time on admin when they should be selling. All of that sort of thing. So either the pain starts there, or the pain starts typically with the accounting side of it. If I could introduce one third role that tends to find it useful, it's the operations people. So let's put finance to one side at the moment, but often there is a need when you sell something is to deliver something to a customer. Now that might be a license key to use some software. Okay, that's fairly straightforward, although not as straightforward as you might imagine. Through to something like a services subscription, where a customer might be entitled through their subscription to 100 hours a year of this type of service, 3 calls to do with this, and so on and so forth in their subscription package. And as operationally, you need to manage that. So like I say, tends to start with the CRO and the CFO, but the COO often also is impacted and has things that they can get out of this. In terms of in terms of working with partners, maybe we'll come on and look at that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But let's think about the customers of our customers for a second. What are they going to get out of it? Because we all know that subscriptions are live and die by churn rates, right? If you can keep a customer even a few more months on a subscription, or your average lifetime of a customer is a few more months, then that makes a huge difference. And that generally is about customer experience. EJ, you mentioned, getting spurious bills and not knowing why you were billed for this, and and this bit seems to be, and that's the last thing people want. Subscriptions are supposed to make life easier, not more complicated. The ability to go onto a portal and just administer your subscription. Maybe having the ability to downgrade or upgrade, and doing self-service. All of these things, all of these touch points are places where if a customer gets a great experience, they're going to stay with you for longer. It's as simple as that. And we very much had that in mind when we built out our suite of products, that we need to make the end customer experience as smooth and as slick and as joyous as possible, so that people hang around.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd go down that to the customer portal, because that's a very cool part of it. And but the subscription model in general, and this is for you guys, the partners, right? Is interesting, because it used to be a limited industries, right? But that's not the case anymore. I mean, it's expanded into almost everything. So, and our customer base at Bluefort is a combination of SaaS service providers and end customers, because they all have the same challenge. The services provider is moving to a subscription model. Volvo is, and cars are going to subscription model. So the opportunities are frankly endless.
I've got a good example of that, EJ. An hour ago, I was talking to a prospect who's in manufacturing. Now, maybe you might think, well, manufacturing, can't really quite see the need for subscriptions in that, but they manufacture industrial parts, and they want to run a subscription service for the ongoing maintenance and support of those parts. And this is a new revenue stream for them. And so, rather than just buy some parts in, build, design, build, ship it out, sell it and make your money that way. Companies are looking at alternative revenue streams, and quite often subscriptions are a big part of that.
Yep, very much. Yeah, and the analytics that provide the product development and management people that come out of this certainly will help drive where they should focus based on usage and things like that. But so let's talk about partners, right? So we have a great partner program already that for essentially all partners. So whether you're a VAR, a channel reseller of Dynamics, a professional services organization, managed service provider, just a referral, a consultant in an industry, it's built, it's solid, and it's working all over the world. And I'm really happy to be bringing that here. So, Nigel, do you want to tap into that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's part. Okay.
Yeah. There are a couple of aspects to this. I guess the first layer is that there may be organizations out there who come across opportunities that they just like to refer directly into us. And to be honest, the only barrier to doing that is that we have an NDA between us. But once that's in place, we'll give a little thank you back for doing that introduction should we end up doing business with that customer. It's kind of an informal relationship, and that suits some people, particularly if they come across opportunities that aren't really in their space, and they prefer for us to pick that up for them. And then really the level after that is where we have a more strategic relationship. And this is about us getting a partnership agreement in place, where there will be, I guess, a certain level of expectation on both sides. And then we can increase, if you like, the thank you that we give you for referring business. But that tends to work more on a co-sell model. And examples of ways in which we've worked on that are, it could be that a Dynamics partner has a prospect that they're working on and they recognize that Bluefort's products will help them with that sale. Then we can co-sell through that sales cycle. And I guess the other most common way that we work with people is where a partner has already implemented Dynamics, and then subsequently they've found that a subscription element would be useful to overlay onto that existing Dynamics implementation, and we can work on that basis as well. For our F&O based products, there is a project alongside each sale of our software, and we have a choice there about whether you as a partner get the knowledge under your belt to do those implementations, or whether you'd like us to do them for you. We're happy either way.
Yes, it's comprehensive. I mean, you triggered a few things there, like for you partners that are watching this, if you're in an implementation of Dynamics right now, you're in a prime spot to add additional value by including and introducing this, because A, it's going to make your life easier, and B, your customer is going to be very, very pleased with the additional functionality. We didn't delve into it too much, but if they have basic subscription needs, yeah, the standard offering is probably fine. But the benefits and of handling complexity and the increase in sales opportunities, that brings a whole different spectrum and morale booster to your salespeople, right? We all love CRMs, right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But how many times does it actually give you an opportunity, right? So that's what I saw out of this, was that here it is, you're getting something out of that CRM, and you're increasing the value to the customers that buy the CRM from you, right? Because everybody always talks about ROI on ERP and CRM, and a lot of that comes down to whether they like it or not, whether they use it, whether it's or is it a pain in the other side. But those are, I think those are real things that partners will like. In addition to an example of customers is that our customers that are partners are actually using it themselves, and that's a big part to this, because the guys that are out there selling and everything, they've got the same challenges, just like us. I mean, we use it ourselves. Go ahead, Nigel.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. Some of our partners are also customers, and actually, if you look out across the Dynamics ecosystem, most people are selling software, certainly, and sometimes services in a managed service kind of way that relies on subscription. So, if you think we can help with you as a partner in your own technology landscape, then we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a dual incentive to become a partner. Use it yourself and manage the ROI there, and then the topics that we just touched on in actual sales to customers and the beneficiaries is another area. So I think we've got a good overview. And you guys want to add anything at this point? I mean, this was supposed to be, an introduction. We're launching this with and you talked about it, a very large client in New York City, which is a great way to start the continent here, and a lot of Dynamics partners and people that I've worked with for all these years. And it's something they understand, I think. And like you said, Nigel, that stitched. I like the term duct tape, virtual duct tape, but they've gone through the same problems because they've been adding processes and software to keep up with everything. Now they have a chance to, and I'll say very easily, right? The implementation is minimal compared to a lot of other applications out there. Very easily to migrate and implement this and get it up and running very quickly in your business, because we're built on Dynamics. We know it, right? So there's no secrets there.
Yep.
So, any closing comments? I'll talk about the next two sessions we're going to do.
No, we're looking forward to those. So why don't you tell our audience about them?
Well, we're going to focus for both sides of the spectrum. So we're going to focus the next one specifically on partners and where the technical aspects of it and what we can delve into and pinpoint and answer questions. We may do it live. We'll see. But questions that they would have in bringing this on board to make it part of their solution suite, and how to position it to their existing customers, how to bring it in, like I alluded to earlier, in an implementation, those kinds of things. We'll talk about the co-sell program, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's rare that a partner, frankly, brings leads to their vendors and things like that. But we're in a unique position, and that's very, very exciting. And then I think we'll focus the last of the series is on the customer benefits and go through some testimonials and hear, partners, it could basically be used as a sales tool. So we'll give you what you need to communicate with clients and point out things that they don't recognize. Because as we know, when everybody's spreadsheets are perfect out there, right? Okay, but that's not the case. But a lot of times they don't know what they don't know, so they're missing it. And we'll help easily identify that with the analytics and the step-by-steps that we do. So I think with that, thank you, Edward and Nigel, for this nice intro, and of course this opportunity to work with you on in the U.S. and that's Atlanta behind us for everyone else. But we'll be across the country all this year, so we're excited. We're going to be doing promotional events, sponsoring things like the IMACP in Atlanta with the Women in Technology next week. We'll be there. The summit in North Carolina, right? Yeah, it's in North Carolina. And then all kinds of events and lunch and learns and presentations and podcasts because we're getting so many case studies and scenarios that they're solving in real time. We're going to post them on LinkedIn in 5-10 minute clips. So look for those. And again, thank you guys. And everyone have a great day.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.